Good afternoon. My name is Nathaniel Reynolds, and I'm a student with Liberty University online. And this is my interpersonal communication presentation. Next slide. I'd like to jump into the PowerPoint and start by introducing my presentation of interpersonal communication. My interpersonal communication project is composed of a plethora of applications, experiences, critical thinking, that has helped shape my communication skills and has ultimately improved me as a servant for God. Next slide. A little bit about interpersonal communication. Interpersonal communication is made up of communicators that give and receive or talk and listen in ways that emphasize the uniqueness, the unmeasurability, responsiveness, reflectiveness, and addressability. Another short way to put it is when communicators engage in the process of exhaling and inhaling. Next slide. My overarching goals are to be more addressable and more responsive. And the steps that I will take to obtain these goals are: number 1, being more of a listener. 2, recognizing when being addressed. 3, be more receptive when engaging conversation. And 4, being able to talk with communicators in the efforts to enlarge the conversation. Next slide. Enlarging the conversation. Enlarging the conversation affords both the listener and the talker the opportunity to share each side of the communication as it relates to common dialogue. Next slide. My background, a little bit about me, is I am a 40-year-old African-American male. I was originally born in Detroit, Michigan. I lived in a single-parent home in which I was the only male in that particular home. I'm also previously married, second marriage of 6 years. I have 2 sons from the previous marriage. One is 16 years old, is a junior at the early college program, and I have an older son that is 18 that attends Morehouse College. I also have a bachelor's degree in psychology that I have obtained through Liberty University, and I am now seeking my master's degree in human services counseling. Next slide. My behavior blend. Let's go a little bit into behavior blend and what it means to begin with. That behavior blend is broken into 4 pieces, one being the D, which means active, task-oriented, directing, driving, demanding, dominating, decisive, and doing. The next part of the piece is I, active, people-oriented, inspiring, influencing, inducing, impressing, interactor, interested in people. C, passive, task-oriented, cautious, competent, calculating, complaint careful, and contemplative. S, passive, people-oriented, steady, stable, shy, security-oriented, servant, submissive, and specialist. Next slide. My behavior blend. My behavior blend, as I advanced more into the DISC model, I captured more of an understanding of my own personality traits. Some of the things that kind of made up who I am in this particular assessment model is the D category. I realized that challenges are my motivations and that my environment needs relying on opportunity for advancements. Next slide. Barriers. First barrier that I've identified is being able to trust. The solution to this is finding limitations with trusting others and focusing more on the individual rather than labeling all persons as untrustworthy. Next slide. Barrier 2, refraining from judging others. The solution to this is reminding myself that I too will be judged, and I should focus more on the positive aspects of people. Next slide. Improving listening skills. Receiving the spoken word accurately, interpret the whole message, retain the information for further use, be sensitive to the accuracy of the message, encourage speaker to speak from his or her heart, and expound on his or her ideas. And this is drawn from Stewart. Next slide. Internal noise pollutions. Example of internal noise pollutions are allowing untamed emotions to be released, giving attention to several different thoughts at one time, failing to stay healthy. Solution to these internal noise pollutions: focusing more on one thing at a time, not allowing your mind to wander or to allow distractions to capture your attention. Next slide. External noise pollutions. Some examples of external noise pollutions: being fidgety while listening, allowing things to redirect our attention, chewing, loud noises, stressors. These are things that are external noise pollutions that could distract us, especially in the setting of worship service, or in some type of lecture, or in some type of setting that requires our attention. Next slide. My plan of action. My plan of action kind of collectively pulls certain aspects of this PowerPoint down into an action plan that will allow me to execute some things, to improve myself, to trim away some things, to remove certain things, so that I can, as I mentioned early on, be more of an effective servant for Christ. Step 1, practice focusing techniques, such as making better eye contact, flowing with the conversation. Step 2, find ways to encourage the talker and their ideas. Oftentimes we can stimulate the talker to talk more, to critically think themselves as they're talking, so that they can pull out more of what they're trying to say and communicate to us. And we can do that by reiterating what they're saying, ask questions, even encourage them to talk more, so that we can build upon and enlarge our conversation. Next slide. So in summary, what I've gone over is interpersonal communication, overarching goals, enlarging the conversation, background, behavior blend, barriers 1 and 2, improving listening skills, internal noise pollution, external noise pollution, and my plan of action. The next slide goes into the references, which they're straight from our lessons over this course. So I hope that this presentation is helpful to some. This class has definitely been helpful to me, and helped me to understand and see some things and bring things to light, so that I can and have improved myself as a servant for God. So thank you. God bless.